Okay, I'll try.
Hmm.
Mm?
Hmm.
Huh. Oh, yes. That's my favorite kind. I love it.
Hmm.
Mmm.
You want to try a 7-night stand?
I signed up for that. I want to do it.
I would sign
Because
up for
I-
it just to try the iPhone, not to try T-Mobile, because
I'm curious
I already
about
have
that
T-Mobile.
too, sort of. I have an iPad, so I kind of know what it's like.
What's a 7-night stand?
That's like a 1-night stand, except it lasts 7 nights. It's the
It's exhausting.
T-Mobile free trial.
I'm interested that it's the iPhone. I wonder if Apple paid them money for that.
Yeah, he said that they partnered, which
Well,
like
maybe. Apple would be smart to
They
do
must
that.
be. I bet they're all refurbed iPhones. I bet that's what it is.
Why is he asking how's Ohio all the way? We were talking about them. He said how far west. And you responded to that, right?
Okay, podcast.
All the way west. Component.
Componente.
Componente.
We've still got 7 minutes till the show is supposed to start, and
Oh,
we have
we're-
everything signed.
Starter.
Got everything ready.
Explode.
I'm good to go. The post is sticky, ready to
Social?
do social thingies. I mean, they're primed and ready. I wish I had a
Primed and
big
ready.
red button that said social.
Are you sure that it's sticky? Because I don't see the podcast.
We have 9 viewers. I don't think we'd get them otherwise.
It is sticky, but the website it's still doing that thing where it takes
The
too long
caching
to
bonus.
update on the cache side.
Damn it, Artem.
I too blame Artem for this.
Until such time as he hires like somebody else to deal with this stuff, then it's his fault.
it's still going to be his fault
That
after
reminds
that.
me of a song.
So are we
What reminds you of
doing
song?
a Friday show next week too, or what was the deal with that?
I'm in favor of it.
I don't think I have a preference either way.
I'm going to not be available Thursday or Friday, so
So it doesn't really matter.
to me it doesn't matter. But
Liam just cut out.
I cannot get into the chat room.
This is the song, Matt, that it reminded me of.
Yeah, it's timing out for me too.
Oh, there we go.
Not that.
Chat.
So
That's not the song.
it sounds like a truck commercial.
There's someone in the chat room called Eric Loves You. Is that Eric?
Hasn't that person been around for a while, or is that a similar name that I'm thinking of?
There was I Love Eric.
Oh, I assume that's the same person. I guess.
Oh.
I mean, what are the odds of somebody else choosing that particular name?
I don't even know what to make of this.
Is this a
Nobody
Rick
else
roll?
can hear it.
I click this.
Stupid question. Probably for Liam. You know
Yes.
if AP is in HTML4 or 5?
You mean AP1 or AP2?
Either. I assume AP2 is
That is a
definitely
good
in 5.
question. I know that AP1 is not in HTML5.
Okay. Because what I want to do is because I've been doing the GIFs and the posts, I want to do the thing where you take a GIF and then you actually re-encode it as an MP4 so that it doesn't, you don't have to worry about the sound, and it way reduces the size of the video file and makes it way easier
You
to
should,
work on mobile.
I know
You
that
should
we can-
tell that to
I know that
Joshua as a
Artem
future
has
request.
embedded videos on.
Yeah, but they're with the
AP1 with-
WordPress player and they suck
Oh,
ass.
okay.
Yeah, we stopped doing that because they were really crashy on pretty much everything.
Yeah, I think MP4 video playback is native in HTML5.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a video tag.
That was bizarre.
Well, I'm hoping we're going to be able to do that because there's also a loop tag, so you can just make it act like a GIF.
Yeah. You should, tell it to Joshua. It'll probably be like 2.1 or something, maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, they'll probably just include it in 2.0 and push back the launch of the site another year or two.
I mean, maybe. Honestly.
So, like, I've been at AP more than 2 years, and I remember like the second or third week I was here, like Artem, like was showing off the new logo, like, hey, what do you guys think of this? Do you think this will be good for the new site that's totally going to happen soon?
It is really close, though. Like, really, really close.
So close. Is it actually
That's
that
when we
close?
started the podcast, Matt, wasn't it?
So close.
I hate you.
But
You just
close doesn't mean much.
It really
does
doesn't.
does this matter that this is live? I mean,
Close means it's close in the sense that we're going to get ready to be close, and then Arm's going to be like, no, we need to change it.
is this like
Yeah, no,
inside
I mean,
baseball?
No,
going
it's
outside?
just a look behind the curtain. It's fine. Everybody knows that there's supposedly a
Yeah.
redesign of the site coming, and that it's been taking.
There's a redesign coming. It's going to happen at some point.
Everyone's been waiting for like 2 years now.
Soon.
I remember there was a logo contest like a year and a half ago.
There was, and we ended up using not one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, toast.
The guy reminded me of Brendan, like an older Brendan.
Walker.
Yes.
He reminds me of Bill Nye the Science Guy. He hasn't shaved.
Everything reminds me of Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Liam reminds me of Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Oh, thanks.
Liam Nye the Science Guy.
Limanai.
Lemon Eye. You can be Lemon Eye the Gemini. The Science Guy. Yeah, toast.
I like this Kiwi IRC much better than the old client.
Me too.
All right, so it's 8
Even though
o'clock.
it
You guys
still
wanna
times
start?
out.
Do you guys want to start? Since it's 8,
Yes, but what day is it?
it's
We're gonna
June
wait
20.
just a few more seconds.
No, that's the date.
Hey, there
Oh,
we go.
you got me with my own thing.
Oh my god, there's like a whole 10 people in here.
We need to
So
wait 10
impressed.
seconds.
10 people in where? Hey, we've got some viewers and everything. It's
do.
Nice.
It's nice. Very nice.
They are
Hey,
they are
happy
just
Friday.
as busy. Yeah, they're
I
just
think
as
maybe
busy on a
everybody
Friday as
was-
we are.
They missed the fact that we weren't here yesterday, and they said we missed our date with Android Please. So they're here today, Matthew.
You sound like
Welcome.
Seth Galifianakis.
I do.
You sound like Seth
That's
Galifianakis with a bit of a speech impediment or some kind of neurological problem.
Hey, so you want to know something? You want to know something interesting? Last night I was bored. So
Yes.
out of sheer boredom, I decided to watch the T-Mobile Uncarrier event, and it resolved my boredom. Like normally, press conferences don't resolve boredom, but that one did. It was
Right?
really
You never
good.
know what John Laguerre is going to do or say.
It was great.
It's like a very tense, dramatic
Wonderful.
TV show. It's like
Yes.
it's like Orange is the New Black, except it's John Laguerre.
Yeah, exactly. And there's only one
Yeah,
episode,
except it's
unfortunately.
black. Yeah.
Uh, So we should do that thing soon where you have like a question, like the Hangouts, question and answer.
Mm.
We should do
Q&A.
that soon.
The qua. The
What are
qua.
we going to do Q&A about?
We should ask the
About
users if they
everything.
know why the carriers don't offer unlimited data.
We can wait until after I/O and then do one, and everybody can ask why Android L was not released.
I'm going to start the show. Is that cool?
Fine by me.
I'm going to make it a little bit louder and then start the show. Like that loud.
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Friday, June 20th, 2014. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm David Ruddick.
I'm Liam Sproutlin.
I'm Ryan Whitlam.
And I'm the guy pressing buttons. My name is Bob Severns. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, sorry, everybody. We're coming to you a day late. We had some unavoidable circumstances. Bob was off gallivanting all across the world, or hoping to, or something. But we're here today, and we're gonna put together a pretty good show for you. We'll start off with Carrier 411. Pretty good, not great.
We're just kidding. It's going to be terrible.
Carrier 411.
All right, so T-Mobile may be the fourth largest carrier in the U.S., but their press conferences are the best by far. And they had one last night for Uncarrier 5.0, and they had some new and interesting features that they announced, right, Liam?
Yeah, so they're basically two parts. They actually announced Uncarrier 5 and 6, and 5 is T-Mobile Test Drive, where they're encouraging customers to cheat on their carrier by picking up an iPhone 5S from T-Mobile and trying it out for a week, and then returning it to a store. Just to see, I mean, it's a great idea for seeing, like, if T-Mobile gets coverage at your house or where you work or something like that, and just checking out their data speed. But the more interesting thing, in my opinion, is that they, Uncarrier 6, introduced music streaming from select services that doesn't count toward your data bucket. So even if you're over your allotment, you can still stream music without penalty. So far, the services include Pandora, Spotify, Rhapsody, iTunes Radio, Slacker, Milk Music, Beatport, and iHeartRadio. But they are taking votes for what services they should add next, and Google Play Music All Access is way up on the list so far.
Where's Amazon on that list?
Oh, I haven't checked. I was just paying attention to Google Play Music, but
see, I wanted to vote for Amazon, but it told me I had to have a Facebook account, so I was like, screw that.
Oh, really? I just
You
clicked
do
the
have a
button.
Facebook account. It exists for
just
Red
for-
Lobster deals.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot I do have a Facebook account.
Thanks, Red Lobster.
But
There's nothing that'll keep you from those cheddar biscuits, Matt.
they
Go ahead, Liam.
they also partnered with Rhapsody to start an app called Unradio, which is a service that allows users to stream music ad-free. And for those on unlimited plans, it's free or $4 a month for all other customers. So cool.
Sweet.
Great.
Nifty.
That's truly great. Truly great.
So yeah, the folks over at The Verge put together a pretty good video with all the greatest moments from the press conference. If you didn't get to watch it, that's at least mildly entertaining for a good 5 or so minutes. So you should check that out. So let's move on to Android at Arms. All right, so the U.S. Supreme Court made a rare ruling in the software patent case this week, and I think a lot of people are probably going a little bit overboard with it, but David's going to tell us what's real and what's fake and what's to be taken away from this, right, David?
Yeah, so this case, which was, up until it hit oral arguments and stuff, a lot of people are saying, well, this is going to be a big deal for software patents, it could stop generic patents from having so much control in the system where they shouldn't. And of course, if you're on an Android site like ours, your focus there is obviously going to be maybe Apple or Oracle, even though Oracle's not suing Google for patents anymore. So the case was Alice versus CLS Bank. It was basically two banks fighting each other over a patent, which I think Alice Corp held, over a computer program essentially that conducted settlement mediation so that when firms exchanged money, there wasn't a risk of one firm paying and the other not, so that there was basically a go-between where the computer acted as an intermediary. And so they tried to patent this program essentially, and the court said, no, you can't patent that because the idea of settlement mediation, which is what you are patenting here, has a long and storied history in banking and financial institutions, and you can't patent abstract ideas. So they're essentially trying to patent a concept, and the big problem was they were trying to patent it using the applied to a computer loophole, as it's known, where you take something that maybe is an abstract idea or even a pre-existing invention, and you say, no, but it's different because now you can do it on a computer and it's better. And the courts, Justice Thomas, who wrote the opinion, said that's not true because when you apply something to a computer, the benefits are often inherent and obvious, and they don't make the computer any better. They may make the invention better in the sense that the things a computer can do, like calculate numbers really fast or act as a neutral medium in this case, are inherent to the application. So just using a generic computer to do these things doesn't make the method special. How this applies to software patents is for extremely broad software patents. I mean, like really like stuff that the patent trolls kind of tend to go for, at least ideally. If you are basically have a patent on software and you're just patenting the idea of a piece of software doing something, like say there are cases of this where patent trolls get these patents for things like the idea of let's say completing a transaction on a telephone, and they say that this is patentable because they've applied it to a machine, and they say, okay, yeah, but you can do it on a computer. The idea of making a payment is not patentable. It's an abstract idea, but if you can apply it to a computer, oh my God, it's totally a patent. And even without a huge amount of technical language about implementation in there, which is what is patentable. But basically, this case could reduce the number of frivolous software patents out there. And by frivolous, I mean really, really ridiculous. Apple is not a patent troll. Oracle is not a patent troll. But the actual patent troll companies like Intellectual Ventures, a lot of these companies who do their lawsuits in East Texas, Rocket Docket District, they could be very much affected by this ruling, and they could see fresh challenges to their patents on the basis of this opinion.
And to that I say, woohoo! Woo!
Woohoo it is. Woohoo.
That's what I say.
All right, let's move on to Google. All right, so we've got a new update to Android 4.4.4 that is rolling out this week to Nexus devices. And Ryan, is this anything we should get super excited or worked up about?
Yes, because now your phone is a whole nother version behind, and it's time to storm the Googleplex and demand justice. But but no, seriously, it's a small update. We originally thought it was another 4.4.3 build. But then we realized it was it's 4.4.4, but it's mostly just a security fix update. It patches a few holes in OpenSSL, similar but distinct from the Heartbleed bug. I mean it's a fairly serious bug, but we don't have any information that it was actually being used to attack Android devices. And it doesn't even fix Talroot. We checked, and it's and that still works. So this was just a quick security fix, and that's probably all. I mean, we might see 4.4.4 rollout to maybe Motorola devices, but right now it's just Nexus. The OTAs will probably hit devices in a few days, but you can download the full system images already.
Cool.
Cool. All right, so we also got some news about what may be upcoming in future versions of Android, thanks to updates to AOSP, and it regards the Dalvik runtime machine, and that it may not be long for this world, right?
Yeah, so we've kind of been seeing little hints and signs and making predictions that Art or Android runtime is going to replace Dalvik in the next major release. But now it looks pretty much certain. There were 2 commits recently. One that erased the Dalvik virtual machine folder from AOSP entirely, and the second one changed all of the configuration files and startups to basically call Art instead of Dalvik. So that's pretty much it. Dalvik's pretty much dead for Android.
So it needs the folder to work. That's confusing.
Yes.
Why is that?
Basically, well, it's a folder. Yes, that's necessary.
Well,
for
I
Dalvik
thought
to start up
that
in the
Dalvik literally ate folders, and that's how it fueled itself. Is that not true?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we're
The
replacing
lifeblood.
it with Art.
I'm Dalvik, the folder eater. I come to eat your folders.
That's why you have to
Please
wipe it
don't
so many
break
times.
Why
characters.
is Dalvik an old Jewish lady?
I've come to eat your folders.
Who smoked for many years? Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of more soup.
How did I just say that? All right, so in addition to that, we also got some news that there might be an upcoming factory reset protection solution coming in the next version of Android as well. So, David, what do we know about that?
Well, according to PC World and Bloomberg, Google said on the record that in the next version of Android, which we can assume the next major version, there will be some kind of kill switch functionality built in, similar to what Apple's done since iOS 7, where if the owner of a phone reports it lost or stolen and then decides to wipe it, the phone can't actually, or phone or tablet can't actually be used again until the owner puts in their iTunes account credentials. Apparently, New York and San Francisco both took smartphone theft metrics based on the reports of stolen phones in the last basically since iOS 7 came out, and both saw marked drops in the number of iPhone thefts. And I mean, it's a correlation causation fallacy here because we don't know if that's what reduced the amount of theft, or whether or not Android phone just became more desirable because people or thieves knew they didn't have this feature. So Android or Google's going to implement one. We're not sure exactly how it's going to work, how it's going to play with bootloaders. I mean, my guess here, some people were being a little bit concerned about this, and I'm guessing that what Google's going to do is that as long as your bootloader's locked, as in even if it's unlockable, if your bootloader's locked and you wipe the device, I'm guessing you won't be able to unlock the bootloader again until you put those credentials back in, because otherwise it'd be kind of silly, especially for phones that ship with unlockable bootloaders, as few and far between as those are becoming. So we'll see what Google does with this solution, and we may not see it for a while yet, though. We don't know when the next major of Android is actually going to be released.
All right. Well, there's some uncertainty as to when that is coming. Also, looks like there might be some uncertainty as to when there is a Nexus coming, and whether or not there is one coming at all. So LG's communication director added some fuel to the No More Nexus fire this week, right, Ryan?
Yeah. So Ken Hong from LG said that they don't have any Nexus devices in their pipeline, which is about as vague as you can get when you're talking about whether or not there's going to be a Nexus 6. Figure that's really what everybody wants to know. But so all we really know from that is that LG does not have a Nexus device that they are currently working on, according to this guy, who we assume is telling us the truth. So
I seem to recall that they made a similar statement around this time last year.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure. I know that there was.
Granted, there is mounting evidence that there won't be a Nexus phone this year.
There will be probably. There might not be a phone called Nexus, but who knows what Android Silver is going to be like.
Yeah, I mean, well, we know the commercial launch of Silver, at least according to EV Leaks, is coming in February of next year. So it may be that, and we know that allegedly a Nexus phone was in the works and then was canceled in light of Android Silver. So it's possible we'll see a Nexus X device from LG, but that isn't a Nexus.
Yeah, that would be a very convenient way for him to not be lying, but still not giving any information.
Correct.
There
Yeah,
was
I mean,
last year. Apparently, some executive from LG had said that they were not making the Nexus 5, but it turned out that it was like a misunderstanding or a mistranslation or something. Like it wasn't actually what he really meant.
He thought
Maybe
they were
they're
asking if they were making
making
5
it right
Nexuses.
He meant to be a lot more sly about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people should probably be less concerned about this situation than they are currently. I mean, I have to assume there's going to be some sort of device in Android Silver that would be very much like a Nexus phone. I mean, Google has to have some sort of development device to test Android stuff.
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, they could do it all on, if they really wanted to, they could just do internal reference devices.
That sounds less efficient.
Maybe. I mean, at the same time, it means Google doesn't have to. I mean, obviously, the benefit to the Nexus program is that you have developers, enthusiasts, and Google all using a common hardware platform, and there are benefits to that.
Well, I mean, there are a lot more people to find bugs in
Yeah. But the benefit to Android Silver is that Google is no longer perceived as a competitive threat by the OEMs, and so if they're willing to put down the Nexus torch in exchange for more Google-controlled software on phones that can freely compete with each other, with most of the benefits of being a Nexus phone without being one, that might be a little more appealing.
I'm interested to see what, if anything, happens with tablets. I mean, I think everybody's pretty sure there's still going to be some sort of Nexus tablet this summer, and then, I mean, who knows if that'll be the last one, or if they're going to maybe retain the Nexus brand for tablets. I think that would be smart, probably. I mean, they've gotten. I mean, even though Nexus isn't like super popular, I think people know the name now a lot more than they once did. It would be weird for them to just give up on it.
I'm not sure how much lag we have right now.
We're all furiously
No,
chatting
there's
because
definitely
Ron of Ars Technica
Yeah, I know.
just said that it looks like Nestbot Dropcam, but in the form of Nest/Google buying Dropcam, which is pretty neat.
Wasn't there a rumor a while ago that
Yeah,
Google was
you
going to buy
said that in the
Dropcam?
chat.
I don't remember.
I would totally be into Dropcam, but my understanding is like you can't. The cameras are only like kind of waterproof, right? Like you can't leave them outside indefinitely.
Yeah, I don't know, but now that you have Nest there, who knows what the possibilities will be?
Now,
Maybe there will be a ruggedized Dropcam.
If they could make me a Dropcam that could survive a Minnesota winter, I would buy at least one of them, probably more than one.
At least one.
I have.
But
a
you use
definite
them
need for a
outside
single
primarily,
camera.
don't you?
Huh?
Don't you primarily use those outside, where the sun is?
Yeah.
Yes. But we don't.
So I'm not sure what use you would have for it.
Well, we don't get sunlight for like.
Well, these work. Dropcams work in the dark. They have kind of night vision.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So now that we successfully derailed this,
Where the
Yes,
hell is
yeah. Random
How is
aside
that?
about Dropcam.
I don't know. I'm watching the video feed over here, and the audio I hear is way behind the video feed.
Yeah, if anyone out there is concerned about how awkward we sound right now, it's because of Hangouts. Blame Hangouts / Google / Dropcam.
I'm hoping
wow,
that
Dropcam for $555 million.
Audio's fine. It's just the
Really?
video that's lagging.
no, the video was
$500 million for Dropcam. That's insane.
That's half
This
one
video
half of an
is like
Instagram.
yours might
It
not
is.
be.
It's one half Instagram. 0.55 Instagrams.
Nice. It's weird that the Nest account tweeted the news.
It's caught up now. It's good.
Maybe the deal was between Nest and them
Oh, yeah, it
before
already-
Nest
it
got
already
bought by
happened.
Google, and now it's like Google is the bigger fish, and Nest was in the process of swallowing an even smaller fish, and then Google swallowed the Nest fish.
Did Nest have 0.55 Instagrams to be buying companies, or did they up their demands once they realized they had Daddy Google on the line?
Daddy Google bucks.
Well, we could probably take this opportunity to segue to the fact that Google is actually selling the Next Protect smoke and carbon monoxide alarm in the Play Store. We could probably talk about that. That would be savvy segue skills if we did that.
Extremely.
We could do that.
It's like fate.
So, for the meantime, let's pretend I already did it, Liam.
Yeah, so that segue just happened. They are selling the Nest smoke detectors on the Play Store now. Nest had actually stopped selling them for a while because of a safety recall, where the feature where you could wave to deactivate it was apparently misfiring, which is very unsafe. So they had a recall and stopped selling them, but now it's back at a cheaper price on the Play Store with less features, but it's safer.
Yeah, the gesture
So
of like waving smoke out of your face was the
Right,
gesture to shut it up.
Or
It's like, oh, there's a fire. Oh,
Just turn it
yeah,
off.
I guess everything's fine.
So, they're offering this, like a $30 refund to people who bought before it went on sale on the Play Store? Does that mean that those people are getting $30 in refund because they have a unit that's defective?
Well, I guess that they bought a thing they thought they could wave at to make it shut up, and it doesn't do that anymore because it turns out that's really dangerous. So
Right.
Was there a firmware update, or did they send them new ones something?
I think they pushed a firmware update out, but you have to have it connected to the internet for that to happen, and not. I mean, you're supposed to, but I guess not everybody necessarily.
And it has to be
You don't have an internet-connected fire alarm, Ryan?
No,
What is this? 2013?
I don't allow internet access in my appliances. You know what? It's actually not hard because I don't have any appliances that could even connect to the internet if they wanted to.
I only don't have internet connections for the appliances that could kill me, like my refrigerator.
So other than falling on you, how would the refrigerator kill you?
That actually is the only way.
So in what way? So the internet.
Obesity.
So the internet access. Somebody might somehow figure out a way to tip
And
the
the stove is never getting internet, not as long as I live.
That makes more sense. It could flood the house with gas, but I'm not sure. Like somebody's going to mess up the accelerometer in your refrigerator, just tip it right over. They'll take control of the accelerometer and the motion sensor, so it'll tip over right when you walk by.
Actually, it's ironic that you guys are talking about this because, like, when I was a kid, I used to have a reoccurring nightmare where I was in a room and a refrigerator suddenly plummeted through the ceiling. Crushed me.
Oh my god.
Was it internet connected? Can you recall?
It was not internet connected. In fact, at that particular point in time, I didn't know the internet existed. So that was the problem. Now, the background of the story is the fact that I should probably make everyone aware that at the time when this happened, I was in my house.
Doing drugs.
I was in my house, and on the outside of my house, there was a giant ape that was banging on the sides of the house, which is what caused the refrigerator to fall through the floor. So it all makes sense now, I think.
Okay, but this is the.
You played too much
important part of it.
Rampage, dude.
Wait, but was the gorilla internet connected, or was it just a regular one?
It was not. It was
Okay.
not internet connected. It just wasn't.
It wasn't an iApe.
No.
They didn't have an Ethernet cord coming out of it, so.
It was a wired gorilla.
It's a 4800 baud gorilla.
This story is pretty bananas, Matt.
All right,
we should move
It
on.
could get on
We should
Usenet.
move on.
It's a Usenet gorilla.
Usenet gorilla.
Hey, wait, did we talk
Use
about
all
the
in
email
ASCII
app yet?
text.
No.
No, we haven't. I'm going backwards now.
You know, actually, I'm going
what
to
we
derail
talked
this one more
about-
time. Because why do you want a smart refrigerator? They exist. I don't, like, people say, oh, well, it tells you when you're out of something. Well, you know you're out of something when you open the fridge and it's like, oh, shit.
Wait, but how does it
there anymore?
How does it know you're out of something, though, unless all of your food magically has some sort of tracking chip on it? It doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It
That's
can't-
what, I
it
think
can't,
that's what most of them rely on.
It can't peer into the refrigerator and say, I see that's a carton of milk and it's 90% empty. The refrigerator's
Maybe
just
it
like,
has
stuff, there's stuff here.
I could see like a Project Tango refrigerator that would know, and maybe there's a companion app.
That
So if
might
you,
actually be kind of. You could just turn on your phone and like look at a 3D rendering of your refrigerators inside
yeah,
in real
exactly.
time.
You
That
would be at the store and it
is
would send you a
probably
little
still not
thing.
something I would want, but
It's not something I don't think I would actively seek it out, but if it was a thing, I'd be like, okay, that's cool.
All right, so we talked a little bit about new things in the Play Store. Let's talk a little bit about things that used to be in the Play Store but no longer are. Namely, the Google Play editions of the Sony Z Ultra, the LG G Pad 8.3, and the HTC One M7. So they are missing from the Play Store. Ryan, do we ever expect that they will come back?
well, we have no way of knowing for sure, but at this point they've been out for a while. They've been out of stock for a couple of days, and also the Galaxy S4 Google Play Edition is out of stock. I mean, I guess if I were taking a guess, I'd say that they're probably gone for good. There very well may be new Google Play Edition devices announced at I/O next week. There's been a lot of chat about a Galaxy S5 GPE device, so we might see that. Don't know if they're going to be. I don't know if there's going to be another Google Play Edition tablet. I think the G Pad was the only one there, but I don't know that we've heard anything else about one of those. But I guess a little sad because the GPE tablet, the G Pad is actually a pretty cool device. So if you want one, I guess you're just going to have to be sad that you don't have it now.
They're actually not missing.
buy it
We
on
just
eBay.
we just flush them down the toilet, and we're not telling you yet because we don't think you're ready.
All right, so the other new arrival to the Play Store this week it comes in the form of an app, and it's a Google Stock app. The email app from the Nexus devices has now made its way to the Play Store, where it can be updated and stuffs. So Liam, what are we taking out of this? Is there anything we can expect from this, and maybe new, faster updates?
Well, the email app itself did come with an update that improves security for Gmail accounts, made an easier account setup flow. You can now print stuff from the app, and it fixed some other bugs. But I think it's a positive thing that they're breaking more apps out into the Play Store. I mean, this point's been made 100 times, but updating things and improving functionality without rolling out a major OS update is always positive. It gets the new features in the hands of users faster. So,
Question:
yes.
why would you put a Gmail account
Oh,
on the stock email app?
I actually have an answer to this, thanks to Artem, because I was wondering the same thing, and so were some of the
Artem always
commenters.
has the answer.
He says, well, one person brought up the, Artem said he was talking to someone who brought up the example of, like, an enterprise account, like where you don't want threaded messages. Gmail doesn't have a way to avoid threaded messages right now, so someone brought up the example of a guy who, for whatever reason, the setup works such that he gets like sales emails or something, all with the same title from the same address. So in the Gmail app, that would all come in as like one giant overwhelming thread, but in the email app, it can come in message by message without having confusion.
See, this
So
seems
it's
like
really-
an oversight of Gmail, not a
Right,
usefulness of the email.
They're fixing the wrong problem, but that's why people do it. It's just
Well,
because
what about-
Gmail doesn't have a feature they want.
What about does the email app allow you to set up a unified inbox for various accounts?
No, I think it's still separated out by accounts.
Is it?
But
I mean,
no
I
one
guess
knows
there-
because no one has used the email app in many an eon.
Yeah, I can't
I'll
remember the
admit
last time
I'm
I
using
launched it. Yeah,
Well,
I
actually
I
had it
used it for
disabled.
I used it for my Exchange account for a while when I first got my phone, and then I switched to using 9. But I could see that if you only wanted to use one email app and you have another email account that you want to configure on your phone, I could see wanting to have just one place to go for all your email. I mean, that's the whole thing BlackBerry was basing their business model on for a while. I don't know.
Yeah,
just thought.
that's a good point. I've had the email app disabled because I just don't like to see it in my app drawer. So
I
it's been so long since I even touched it.
Yep. Take it out back and shoot it.
All right, so All right, so some YouTube users have noticed a couple of new options show up when they start selecting their desired video quality on the videos they're watching. Previously, 360p and 720p were available, but some folks are now seeing that 480p and 1080p are showing up in their selectors. So if you aren't seeing them now, I think this is pretty obvious that it's in a testing phase. It should be rolling out soon to your devices, so you can expect to see some enhanced quality of video selections to your local neighborhood YouTube app very soon.
Google Play Movies and TV gets bumped to version 3.2.25. And the feature that we've all been waiting for to the Watch Now area of the application. So, yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome. All right, Google Search also has a little new trick now going to appear, giving you the option to open one of your many installed music apps right from the search results. So the results of that appear to be different depending on which app you launch. If you open up Google Play Music, it's going to open up the artist page. It does something different in YouTube, something different in Spotify, whatever the case may be. But it's at least giving you the option to open them. So there's that. All right, let's move on to the hot sheet. Hot sheet! All right, so after years and years and years of speculation, Amazon has finally taken the wraps off of their very first smartphone. It is here. It is a Fire phone. It is announced, and it has features.
Yay!
David, what are said features?
It has a lot of cameras on the front, and apparently that's good for stuff or something. I'm not really sure what the stuff is, but Jeff Bezos was really, really excited about it. He actually looks excited about everything. He is in a perpetual state of excitement. He should probably contact a doctor. Anyways, the Fire phone has a 4.7-inch 720. Or wait, no, it has. They didn't say if it's 720p, did they?
They just said HD.
It is.
I bet the specs.
So it has what looks like a Snapdragon 800 processor, 2 GB of RAM, 32 or 64 GB storage, a 13 megapixel rear camera, a 2 megapixel front camera, 4 front-facing cameras, which also have tiny little infrared lights in them so that they can see IR lights so that they work in the dark. You get unlimited photo storage via Amazon Cloud. It has dual stereo speakers on the front, I think, so that you can actually hear sound in stereo. It has a glass back, if that's a feature you're interested in. It has aluminum buttons. It is actually a phone of many materials. There are at least several elements involved in constructing a Fire phone, apparently. It has LTE, 9-band support, even though you can only use it on AT&T because Amazon is just so stupid. It's just so dumb. Like, this phone is so... nothing is redeeming about it in any way.
The screen is 720p, so it's not even a 1080p phone.
Like, the number of corny titles I've seen about how bad this phone is from otherwise total softball tech publications indicates that yes, Amazon, this is going to be bad.
Yeah,
Does anybody else feel like Amazon was just pressured into making a phone?
I feel like Jeff Bezos wanted to make a phone.
I'm sure that he's been trying to think of a way to make a phone work for a long time, but now like the low end is so crowded with stuff like the Moto G and the Moto E that he just like didn't want to bother trying to compete with that, so he did the safe thing and said, okay, we'll just work with a carrier. And even like, I mean, at $200, I can't see this thing selling very many units at all. I mean, it's gonna be bad, but at least this way, AT&T had probably promised to buy however many of them, so Amazon can have their earnings call in a few months and say, we've sold millions, sort of.
We sold millions of Fire devices. That's what they're going to do. They're going to change it from Kindle devices to Fire devices.
Someone will ask, like, wait, but how many actual Fire phones have you sold to human beings?
Some.
This earnings call is over. We're done.
Lot.
Yeah, so Amazon's obviously their thing with this, I think, is because phones aren't really like, they're not content consumption devices as much as tablets are. I mean, obviously people do consume content on phones, but phones are more content generation oriented, I think, because people go on social media, they take pictures, Maybe they, buy products when they're out on the go. And so this phone is still all about directing you back to Amazon, so you can buy your Kindle books, so that you can watch your Prime Instant Video. It comes with a free year of Prime, gets you hooked on the Prime Teat. And it also does this Firefly thing that basically, as far as I can tell, is a magic Amazon machine that tells you exactly where to buy a thing or sound or a movie on Amazon. Please give us your money. Otherwise, what really bugs me about it, it's completely uninnovative and undisruptive as a sales model, which Amazon is usually known for, trying to be disruptive. Whereas they've gone the most traditional, tired route possible: $650 off contract and $200 on contract, or you can do a next payment plan, locked to a single carrier out of the box, even if you buy the phone full price. And there's nothing interesting going on. I thought at least they'd do some kind of sponsored data arrangement with AT&T where
I thought
streaming Amazon stuff was free, but
I
they
thought
didn't.
for sure that was going to happen when Ralph De La Vega came out and was talking about how he's been using the Fire Phone. He loves it. It's like, oh, they're going to just pay for everybody's data. That's going to be the thing. And then no, it's.
I love it so much that AT&T is going to let you use it as much as you want.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just. I can't. It doesn't have any of the Google services built in, obviously, as an Amazon device. And Amazon's App Store selection is still just terrible. I mean, if you look at like the top apps in Google Play, I think there are probably roughly half of them in Amazon, and oftentimes they're significantly older than the version in Google Play, because there's no incentive for developers to publish to Amazon.
But Ryan, have you heard? You can get 5,000 Amazon coins if you optimize your Kindle Fire app for Fire Phone, using some of the Fire Phone's innovative features.
That's going to be great. There are going to be a lot of apps with really pointless 3D interfaces that people do the bare minimum to get the.
I will say the demos that they showed of the 3D interface looked kind of cool, but it doesn't look like anything I want to see on a phone. It looked like something maybe on a gaming device, a tablet.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like the 3D interface thing. It does look really cool when you see the demo, and you're like, hey, that's kind of neat. But then, like, you don't want that on your phone every day, because like a tablet can be a kind of gimmicky device because it's a second or a third screen, but a phone is, I mean, it's something that you have with you all the time. It's like your main communication device. You don't need it to have a stupid gimmick like that.
And it's got all these gesture type things where you tilt the phone and it does this, and you flip it around and it does this, and it. I don't know. I think that kind of stuff that they did to kind of say, okay, well, these cameras, these sensors are useful. It's going to make the phone annoying to use. I mean, am I wrong?
Not to mention, it essentially just bars a age market of buyers. Like, you're not going to get anybody in probably the 50-plus crowd to even consider this, because it will terrify them.
Yes, the NSA phone. So many cameras for the NSA to spy on you with.
I was just going to say it's going to give them vertigo, but that too.
Yeah.
If you happen to be holding the device and you check the time on your watch and then you turn the device back over, it's going to be a completely different screen. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's going to happen. It's going to be unpredictable and just unuser friendly. But I will say the one thing, and this is such a small, minute detail, but one thing I've been looking for a long time is I've always wanted my IMDb app on my phone to be able to just like hit a widget and it listens to what I'm watching and tells me about it, and it'll do that. So that's like the one thing I'm like, oh man, thank God, finally it does that. Now I'm just like, well, hopefully somebody will hack it and make it work on my phone.
The only reason that hasn't happened on the Android app is because asshole Amazon has been holding it back to debut it on their stupid phone.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to wager at this point that it will be no more than 3 months after this phone is released that it will be significantly reduced in price on AT&T.
Yeah, I highly doubt there's going to be a Fire Phone 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if like they learn their lesson quickly and decide to build something that is actually affordable and not tied to the ridiculous carrier model, then maybe they'll produce something. But nothing like this will exist again, because this is going to be bad.
I think, one thing I think probably important to remember, and I think people tend to forget this, is the first Kindle, like the very first model of Kindle that they released, was massive, it was ugly, and it was ridiculously overpriced.
Yeah, it was like $480 or something.
Right, and it sold terribly.
Yeah, but I mean that was like brand new technology to everybody at the time. Amazon wasn't coming into
Sure.
a market that was full of e-ink devices. They were like, look at this new thing. It's like a book, but it's not.
The only reason I bring it up is because I feel like Amazon is a company that's willing to put this new thing kind of out there and see how it does and just learn from it.
Well, but then like the way to do it would have been to just like sell it instead of doing this like crazy carrier blocking thing.
I would argue that this isn't
there's
even
no
a new
excuse for the
thing.
carrier. There's no excuse for the carrier.
Right, sorry,
And
Liam.
you said in 3 months we'll have drastic reduced. I think in 3 months we might also be looking at uncarrier locked ones because I don't know. As soon as they can figure out a way to do it legally and not break their agreements, I think they're going to do it.
I mean, that might be built into the agreement, but I think they're going to care by that point.
Maybe I'm just not thinking creatively, but I don't see where the 3D like peek behind stuff kind of interface can go from here. You know what I mean? Like the options.
I think it could be really cool for gaming, and that's about it.
Yeah, like they use the example of like looking at the back of a product image. I'm like, I don't want to do that. You can just show me a picture of the back of the thing. I don't need to twist my phone around like an idiot.
The previous way to do it was this. Now I'm looking at the back.
Yeah, I'm going to go with efficiency of motion being a greater concern than the stupid gimmick like being able to rotate your phone. That's what people really care about in smartphones, right? The ability to do something with as few taps as humanly possible.
But like paying attention even in a game to something like 3D movement and moving your phone to scroll or look around things is too much. In my opinion, it's just too much cognitive load for an interface that's supposed to be as easy as possible.
I don't think that the 3D effect is going to be dramatic enough to really be genuinely useful in a game because it's still just a regular LCD. There's no.
I think it'd be cool.
Super crazy for an actual 3D screen, but I don't know how this is going to really help.
So I think it'd be cool in. I know this is just kind of a one-of example, but I think it'd be pretty cool in Monument Valley.
And I was actually just going to say that that's the one game I'm thinking of that might actually be kind of neat, but. I mean, there are so few games that use perspective in such a detailed way to actually be able to take advantage of this.
I also just have an instinctual negative reaction to something like this because if the feature is going to be implemented in games and that's the area where it really takes off, then only people with that device are going to get that experience. And
I know, yeah. Amazon would basically have to support the entire market for 3D games on.
Right. It just
they would have to pay developers to keep doing it because there's just not going to be enough out there.
That has worked so well for bespoke.
That's like the Tegra Zone taken to the next level.
Yeah.
Right.
All I have to say is, wow, Kinect worked out so well for everybody in terms of crafting innovative game experiences.
Yeah.
And this is basically Amazon trying to do Kinect on a phone.
I can't wait for the Fire Phone version of Kinectimals. I'm going to buy me so many Kinectimals.
Yeah.
Just teeny tiny puppies.
All right, so let's talk about the other phone that was released this week. The one from a more traditional manufacturer. Samsung has announced a phone. It's not going to be available here, so let's get that out of the way up front. It's not going to be here. But regardless, this phone's got some pretty impressive specs, right, David?
It does. It is beefy. So this phone, the Galaxy 5 or S5 LTE Advanced, adds in a Quad HD display and a Snapdragon 805 processor, which is the biggest bump for a Snapdragon trip since probably the 600 to the 800. It introduces a Crate 450 CPU, which is basically a on steroids version of the Crate 400, a much faster Adreno. I think it's is it a 420 or a 430? Either way, it's 60% faster than the existing quickest Adreno GPU, which is really important. And otherwise, it's a Samsung Galaxy S5 with LTE Advanced and this new chipset. Now, what's interesting is there have been rumors that there's going to be some kind of Galaxy Prime or some kind of high-end version of the Galaxy S5 that would have specifications similar to this. But that's not materialized, and the rumors of that phone's at a 5.2-inch screen, and this is still 5.1. So who knows what's happening there. It's also possible, I think a lot of the reason Samsung introduces these phones in Korea and Korea only is because usually they have the chip that goes in the next Note phone, and it's a way to gather metrics and bug reports and fix everything before the Note comes out by just cramming a faster phone with the Note's chipset inside a Galaxy S5 body. So again, don't expect to see this phone anywhere but Korea. So if you're in Korea, you can go get one. If you're not, then you can't. And that's Galaxy S5 LTE Advanced.
All right, so we've got some device some device update information this week. Starting off with Android 4.4.3. Which just started rolling out this week to the 2012 Nexus 7 in both its Wi-Fi and 3G flavors. This comes only slightly before Google started rolling out 4.4.4 to other Nexus devices, so keep that in mind for some reason. 4.4.3 also rolling out to the Moto X on Sprint, so if you have that, you're only slightly behind. You're looking pretty good.
Verizon's Galaxy S4 Mini gets an over-the-air update to 4.4.2. but it won't make that god-awful home button logo disappear. The Galaxy S4 Mini and Mega are the next Sprint devices to receive KitKat via OTA as well.
All right, so T-Mobile just announced Voice over LTE in 15 markets on Wednesday, and they've already begun rolling out the corresponding updates to the Galaxy S5 and Note 3 that enable this new feature. Some users on the West Coast already had support for that on their Note 3, their LG G Flex, or the Galaxy Lite from the little Voice over LTE test rollout they did in Seattle last month. We can expect that those handsets, meaning the LG G Flex and the Galaxy Lite, will probably be getting the update rolling out soon elsewhere, at least if you're in one of the 15 Voice over LTE markets that includes Atlanta, Austin, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Long Island, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, New England, New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Seattle, Washington, D.C., and I should have put an and in there because Washington, D.C. is the last one. So if you have one of those phones in one of those places, you should hope for an upgrade very soon.
If you still have a Galaxy S3 on AT&T, you're getting treated to KitKat in the latest over-the-air update, i747UCUFNE4. Also, Canadian variants are available to the Galaxy S3 running on Bell, Rogers, and TELUS. And Verizon's Galaxy S3 support documents have been updated, and it looks like they're going to be treated to KitKat very soon as well. So keep your fingers licked for that. Yes, because keep your fingers licked.
Okay.
Lick your fingers, because that way you don't have anything tainting the melty, chocolatey, crunchety, KitKattery goodness.
KitKattery.
Salty.
All right, let's move on to product reviews.
It's time for product reviews. This week, the LG G3. David.
I don't have the G3 anymore. I had sent it back. So...
And this has been product reviews.
David review. I had to send it back.
Do you remember anything about it?
Absolutely nothing.
Utterly
Actually,
forget.
once I publish a review, I just go find a wall and I bang my head against it vigorously for about 40 minutes. And then usually the hurt goes away. I do remember, based on, reading my own review, that I liked it. And then I put it on a turntable and made a GIF of it going in a circle. I remember doing that.
What's a GIF?
It is.
Team Hard G.
It's not Jif. That's peanut butter. Anyways, the G3 has a really nice big screen, very small frame for the screen size. It's actually not a lot bigger than a Galaxy S5 or an HTC One M8. In some ways, it's smaller. It's not as heavy as the M8, and it's lighter than the M8. It's only a little bit heavier than the Galaxy S5, and a little bit wider. But it's actually a little bit shorter than the S5 too, I think, which is pretty incredible. So you get a much bigger screen without a much bigger phone, which I think is what everybody kind of wants. They want a phone that still fits in the palm of their hand pretty easily, but can have a massive screen if that's really what they want. The software on it, LG's UI layer is looking a little better these days. I'm not going to say it's pretty, and things like their app drawer and their home screen management system and their multitasking UI and their settings menu are bad. They're just really ugly, unintuitive, and not with the times in terms of modern Android design paradigms. Samsung is more with the times than LG at this point. They have a much cleaner home screen management system, much cleaner app drawer. Settings menu is still kind of a clusterfuck, but their recent apps menu is nice too. Whereas LG seems set on defining itself in some way with these things by making them worse. Not sure where they're going to go with that, but you can put a new launcher on it and fix some of that. LG touted it's got a new software keyboard that's kind of like SwiftKey, but it's kind of like SwiftKey, but worse in that the word predictions take way too long to appear, so you immediately just should install SwiftKey and remove that. The camera on the G3 is awesome. The laser autofocus thing that they talk about, it's not a gimmick. It totally works. I never got an out of focus shot with it. Like, I couldn't trick it into taking an out of focus shot. It takes really great night pictures as long as you don't look at them too closely, in which case it kind of does this oil painting over processing effect. But if you're looking at like standard social media sizes, or even for a website like ours, maybe 700 to 800 pixels wide, they still look really good. Like, I haven't seen well processed night photos like this since I played with a Lumia phone on Verizon a while back, which was like a year and a half ago. No, over 2 years ago now. This does something similar, although the blurring can have extreme effects in some situations. In the daytime, it's an awesome camera, really great detail, and like I said, the autofocus just works perfectly. The phone itself, I grown to like the rear buttons. They tweaked them a lot on the G3. The power button is now bigger, and the volume rocker is easier to feel out, so the rear controller buttons actually feel like they've been iterated in a way that's much more helpful. I didn't like them on the G2. I like them on the G3. They just seem much more natural now. Other than that, the battery life I thought was pretty good. The external speaker is much more powerful than the G2. It's always been a weak spot for LG. One of the models will have 3 gigabytes of RAM with 32 gigs of internal storage. Presumably that's the only one we're going to see in the US, but we don't know yet, because I know we saw the G2 only in 32 gigabyte trim in the US versus 16, so I assume they're going to keep doing that. The software, like I said, it's gotten a little better, but there's still some issues. And the other thing is, I still don't know how much I trust LG, even as a Nexus partner, with the software updates, because they're still behind Samsung and HTC typically. Well, maybe not Samsung, but definitely behind HTC and Motorola. So that is the G3.
The G3. All right.
Also has
on
a lot
to
of pixels.
updates. What?
Has a lot of pixels.
Many pixels.
A lot of pixels.
That's the wrong button.
All right, so we had a little bit of interesting news. David actually just mentioned Nokia's phone and their camera, but now we might be talking about Android launchers, because, it makes total sense that Nokia would make Android launchers. I guess it does. They have an Android phone out there. Rumors are swirling around that there might be another one coming soon. So, Ryan, you got a chance to check out the new Android launcher from Nokia. What were your thoughts?
It's interesting. I mean, it's not like most Android launchers that are pretty close to the AOSP regular Android experience. So you have the entire screen is taken up with a list of apps and contacts that it thinks you're likely to want based on the time of day, and then you filter that list by essentially like drawing letters. Like, you just write out what you're looking for, and it just acts as a search filter. And then there's like a full app drawer, and it doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, it's kind of interesting looking, and it's a neat idea. I could see it working on like a low-end Android phone. Like, maybe this is what they're going to try to do if they continue to make Android devices if Microsoft allows them to do that. But if you wanted to try it, I think they already closed their beta testing program or the pre-beta thing. So you'd have to probably track down the APK someplace. But I don't know. I mean, you're not missing a lot at this point. It's just sort of an interesting curiosity to investigate.
Nifty.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to other news.
It's now time for other news. The news that's other than what we've been talking about already.
It's a good sounder. We should keep using that one.
Well, we should just have more other news than what we've been talking about previously. Then we could use it more. All right, so other news this week comes from HTNC.
Why do you do that?
I don't know why I do that. Just feels so right. HTC got into a little bit of a situation with some of its investors because of what they didn't do at a recent investor get-together, and David Logic might say that their choices were prudent, but investors disagree.
Yeah, so HTC had their annual shareholders meeting. Last year, apparently, they gave everybody at the meeting a free phone, which doesn't really make sense if you're a company losing money every quarter at all. It's kind of like you're literally saying to the shareholders, look, we get we're doing shitty. Here, have some free stuff to help you forget about that. But apparently it worked because this year, over 2,000 people showed up wanting free phones. If the rules in Taiwan are like they are in the U.S., presumably all you need is one share of HTC stock to go to the shareholders meeting, which sounds logical. I don't see any reason why the rules wouldn't be the same. But a bunch of people showed up, and a lot of the people who were asking questions, because at the shareholders meeting, if you're a shareholder, you get a chance to ask a question of the company you're investing in. Would take their question time to ask why they were not getting a free phone, and instead only a free thermos, some fruit, and bread, and some juice. Juice too, they had juice.
What about energy drinks and doobies? Did they get those?
They did not get energy drinks or doobies, which sounds like a dangerous Laguerre-esque combination. That's probably what John Laguerre is on at any given moment, a doobie and a Red Bull.
I tell you what they would get. If they went to my shareholders meeting and they asked those questions, they would also get a can of ass whooping after, in a back alley somewhere.
Ass whooping is pretty cheap. You could probably afford to give it out.
Right.
So they ended up giving out 200 free phones via a lottery system, which obviously made some people pretty butthurt. I think this is the medical term. So HTC probably shouldn't have given out free phones last year, and I don't think they should have given out any free phones this year either, when they're losing money every quarter consistently for I think 2 years now. Maybe not such a good idea.
Yeah, it's very strange to invest in a company and then go to the thing and be upset that they didn't just waste $1 million.
Yeah, I think my favorite one, there was a quote that Wall Street Journal actually took from a guy saying that a free phone would have, quote, made him feel better about HTC's sinking share value.
Wow.
Listen, I'm losing money, but if you give me a free phone, I'll feel better about it.
Did any of the shareholders start a change.org petition?
How much did the shares go for? Is there any report on that?
Well, considering they've lost 90% of their value over the last 2 years, let's see, it's 136 Taiwanese dollars a share. So, oh wait, no, is that? At 24.98, 2,498 Taiwanese dollars. That's $83 a share.
So, for $83 to get a free phone, I mean, I'd do it.
There were probably people that did try to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they did.
Oh no, wait, I lied. It's not. That's their stock exchange number. It's way less than that. 136 Taiwanese dollars to USD. That's $4.53.
Oh wow. Ooh.
Wow.
These
That's
people,
bad.
these people that were sad about investing probably have like less than 100 shares.
Yeah, probably.
They probably bought
Significantly
one
less.
share, and they heard last year that everybody got a free phone, so they bought one share.
These are the same people that are pissed off and write bad reviews for 99-cent apps. I hate you. It's 99 cents. Get over it.
It's true.
All right, so let's move on to voicemails.
The number you're trying to reach. The number you're trying to reach. The number you're trying to reach. Ugh. Enough already. Somebody answer the phone.
So this week we have an email. Or a voicemail. Yeah. Something like that.
It's like an email.
It's like
except
an
with your
email
voice.
with your voice. That's mailed to people.
It
We
was
actually had a couple.
emailed.
But if you're sending in a voicemail that is putting your hat in the ring for a guest host opportunity, we will not be playing those on the air. Those are going through an internal consideration and review process.
Unless
And you will be-
we really, really decide it's bad enough to make fun of you. And then we'll play it on the show.
Right. So we have one email that was not of that variety. And it said, "Hello, it's me. It's Piper the DJ this week. We were talking about Amazon, Wednesday, just Bezos as the stage, and he talked to us about the Amazon fire. But that's not my topic for this week. Tuesday, we, strangely enough, had it leaked that AT&T was going to be the sole carrier all this device. And I the only one that thinks that is not a good idea? Many people, including Albert Einstein, believe that insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. AT&T is going to do everything they tell him to make sure but they put a positive spin on this. Because they're the ones that are going to come out on top. The big issue is, if you look back out over there, an 1838 species device that was the quote-unquote basement, so neither of them did very well under the umbrella of the AT&T. As a former member of the current company, that was the third-party contractor to offer tech support for the iPhone. This does not work in the interest of the consumer. I was there, I saw it happen. Many at AT&T employees as well as AT&T themselves don't care about anything except the bottom line, me. How are they going to make more money on this device? I look forward to hear what you say concerning AT&T in the Amazon. Kendall, the Amazon Firestone relationship. Wondering how transgression's gonna screw up this call. I'd like to DJ tonight." That's really true. I really wish I were DJing tonight as well. You're right, Piper. Let's play this voicemail. I should start reading them like Captain Kirk because it seems like they're putting periods in after every other word now for some reason. I don't know why, but
For some
reason, the transcription is getting to be off. I'm trying to stall while it loads up.
Hello, AP. It's Piper the DJ. This week, we want to talk about Amazon. Wednesday, Jeff Bezos took the stage, and he talked to us about the Amazon Fire Phone. But that is not my topic for this week. Tuesday, we strangely enough had it leaked that AT&T was going to be the sole carrier of this device. Am I the only one that thinks that that is not a good idea? Many people, including Albert Einstein, believe that insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. Now, AT&T is going to do everything they can to make sure that they put a positive spin on this, because they're the ones that are going to come out on top. The big issue is if you look back over the Apple and the HTC device that was the quote-unquote Facebook phone, neither of them did very well under the umbrella of AT&T. As a former member of the company that was a third-party contractor to offer tech support for the iPhone, this does not work in the interest of the consumer. I was there. I saw it happen. Many AT&T employees, as well as AT&T themselves, do not care about anything except the bottom line, meaning how are they going to make more money on this device. I look forward to hear what you have to say concerning AT&T and the Amazon Kindle, the Amazon Fire Phone relationship. Wondering how transcription's going to screw up this call. I'm Pipe the DJ. Good night.
Okay, so
There you have it.
bad feelings about AT&T being the sole carrier.
Yeah, I think I think we delved into it quite a bit earlier in the Amazon Fire Phone discussion. But one of the things that I wanted to point out is, and I don't know if this weighed into the decision at all, but I feel like carrier exclusivity allows Amazon to kind of allow somebody else to pay for marketing. I mean, here you pay for commercials. I don't really want
It does. It actually does.
That's true.
That's a big part of
Oh.
it. I know HTC did that for a long time with their phones. The Incredibles, the 1X, wasn't that only on AT&T when it came out?
There's the Evo too.
Yes.
The
Yeah,
Evo's
the
for
Evo
one
on
spin.
Sprint. That's it's a big deal because you can say Amazon doesn't spend much money on advertising. It advertises the Kindle some, but not a lot.
They're
They-
all-
that's
they're
why
advertising all
They
on their own
mostly
property.
rely.
Much
I
cheaper
think-
that way.
They mostly rely on the giant full-page ads on the Amazon front page, which is one of the most
Yeah,
trafficked websites.
their
now.
biggest media buy is their own front page.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that for AT&T, the draw for AT&T is basically that they probably have, since Amazon's a new partner, they probably have a really conservative buy-in arrangement. The minimum number of phones they have to buy from Amazon is probably pretty low. Otherwise, AT&T probably wouldn't agree to this kind of deal. So it's probably pretty flexible in terms of the order scheme, because that's how, if you're a carrier and you're selling phones to somebody, you've already bought the phone when the consumer buys it. AT&T has bought the Galaxy S5 or the 1M8 from HTC or Samsung, and they have to sell it through. It's not Samsung's responsibility to sell that phone. They can't send it back to Samsung and say, hey, you couldn't sell this phone, because they already paid for it. So it's likely that Amazon's saying, hey, you don't need a big commitment because tons of people are going to buy this phone through Amazon.com, and we can still say it's an AT&T exclusive, so there's less risk for you. And I think that Amazon's big business model with this phone is not for AT&T to make money. AT&T will do whatever it takes. They will grab on to whoever will say yes to them that, hey, this could be the next iPhone. Like, AT&T is so desperate for that. Because when they had the iPhone by themselves, that's when AT&T became huge. Like, that is the fuel to AT&T subscriber growth fire that has happened in the last, less than the last decade. So I think Amazon's point of view is, we can make AT&T happy here, we can get this exclusive partnership with them, and they'll market the phone. And then Amazon's point of view for making money is they operate on this kind of like this universe of it's like, I wouldn't say string theory, it's like a giant web of connectedness in buying products through Amazon. If you buy a phone through Amazon and that phone takes a picture of a case of paper towels, and then you buy the paper towels on Amazon, the phone is facilitated the purchase. Money goes to Amazon either way. As long as the money is going back to Amazon, that's what Amazon cares about. So the phone is essentially just a really expensive tool to get you to buy things on Amazon. That's really what it's about.
Yeah, but I have to wonder how long AT&T is going to be spending big on advertising this device once it becomes apparent that it's not.
I'm sure they have agreements in place, as far as numbers, expectations, and things.
Yeah, I'm sure AT&T probably has the better end of that deal, though.
I'm sure they do.
I mean, I'm anticipating when it kind of becomes apparent that this phone isn't doing well, and we're going to start to hear like leaks from people that were maybe involved in the process of creating it or getting the deal with AT&T about like all of the probably egregious errors that Amazon made in designing this phone and getting the AT&T deal set up, because it just seems like there's so many things wrong with this whole approach. I mean, like I said earlier, like it's kind of like the safe thing to pass this all off on AT&T, but I feel like that's just a bad idea for the future of an Amazon phone existing.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to work at all for them.
Yeah, and Cody pointed out in the chat room that Verizon did pretty well marketing using the Droid brand, but I don't know. I feel like it's a different time.
Well, yeah, I mean, they just started that when the Motorola Droid was literally the only Android phone that was worth owning. Like there was nothing else, at least for the first 2 months. Then the Nexus One came out, but that was a whole kind of different situation where you had to pay full price for the phone and people weren't.
And then of course HTC released the Nexus One as the Incredible on Verizon with a new body on it, essentially. Anyways.
Yeah, that was like the prototype for a number of phones that year. But I mean, the Droid brand was kind of the premium Android thing for a while. I mean, there was that period of time where everybody just referred to Android devices as droids, which was incredibly annoying, I think, for everybody.
No, but now they're Galaxies.
Yeah, now everything is a Galaxy.
You have that new Galaxy?
Yeah.
I do have this little interstellar phenomena in my pocket.
Yes, I do. I have a cluster of stars in my pocket. But no, it's so. I mean, yeah, Droid came along at a very different time, and I mean, you can kind of tell like when they stopped focusing on it so much, everybody just kind of like stopped caring about the brand.
Yeah. Definitely. And when Samsung's spending $1 billion a year on marketing, the phones being called Galaxies just becomes inevitable.
Yeah, and AT&T is not going to spend anywhere near that amount of money to make people want to fire them. It's
Okay.
I think we've said what we need to say there. Let's talk about some contests and giveaways going on the site right now. International giveaway going on right now for a 16 gigabyte carrier unlocked GSM HTC One M8. That is from Handy Apps and Android Police, so get yourself entered to win that. Also, on the state side, we've got a couple of invites to give away for the OnePlus One. So if you're interested in purchasing that device, obviously this is not a giveaway of free OnePlus One phones, but rather invites so you can purchase a OnePlus One, which are pretty hard to come by in and of themselves. So it's a pretty cool deal. Head on over to androidpolice.com/contests and get yourself entered to win.
We hope you enjoyed this show. As always, send your feedback to podcast@androidpolice.com. You can also call us at 530-HELLO-AP. That's 530-435-5627. Find us on Twitter at Android Police, Google Plus, and Facebook. And Google Plus. Twitter. Facebook. Google. Find us on the Googles. Do your cursory searches.
Do you think that they're going to announce the next Android at I/O, David?
That's really because they have the What's New in Android session.
Well, yeah, that's true. They're getting very, very, very close.
Well, it might not be L.
I guess it could just be Play Services stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was another KitKat.
I guess, but they just released 4.4.3 and .4.
Well, yeah, but I mean, now that it might be 4.5, and that's still KitKat.
Maybe the joke's on you, and all that session we're going to talk about is the bug and security fixes in 4.4.
The thing is, we've seen absolutely zero leaks of a 4.5 release.
Were there?
That's true.
I know that like 4.3 leaked like a month before it came out. Did 4.2?
Yeah, we almost always get some kind of clue that there's a new version coming, and the only version I think we've seen is L.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there have actually been kind of a lot of L leaks.
Yeah, I feel like
We have
4.5, maybe
had
4.5 was a thing at some point, but not anymore.
Mm.
I don't really know. I don't think it was a thing. I think
You know, what I would like to see Google be a little bit more open with the development of new versions of Android. It would be great if they would like demo it at I/O and let developers know what was going to be happening so that they could
Right.
get apps
I-
ready. I mean, for all
I
that,
think
like,
if anything, like if they're going to mention it, I think I think you're right. I think they would take that approach of like showing what it's going to do, saying here's what you need to do to get ready, and then it'll launch in late fall.
Yeah,
I mean,
I feel
especially
like
if,
that's probably what they're going to do. That would make
If-
more sense to
yeah,
say.
if like this
And they
stuff,
won't even probably name it. They'll just say the next version of Android.
they might call it the L release. They have, I mean, Googlers have said like the L release a few times, and that's like in the AOSP code sometimes. But I mean, it would be, especially if what we've been hearing is accurate, if there are going to be a lot of really dramatic UI changes, it would make sense to let developers know.
Yeah, there's no
what's
well
happening.
because we know the Nexus tablet is coming. At least at this point, it's still coming. They're going to debut the major release on the Nexus tablet. They always do major changes on a reference device.
Well, 4.3 was not major, and that was on the Nexus 7 2013.
Was it? But they announced 4.3 before they announced the
No,
Nexus
I think
7.
they announced it at that weird event, like at the end of July, didn't they? And they were like 4.3, and here's a new Nexus tablet.
I don't remember. Maybe they did, but 4.3 wasn't very big.
I know.
And
I
That
think
was
they
weird.
just wanted to release the Nexus tablet, and they were like, here's whatever, here's 4.3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if this is, I mean, if it is going to be the L release, that's going to be a big deal. I can't see them just having some weird random event saying, okay, here's 4 point whatever or 5.0 and a Nexus tablet. That would be odd. I mean, if they're not going to have a Nexus phone anymore, then there's not going to be like the big announcement in the fall that people are used to.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we'll see the 5 maybe like L release developer preview or something, but
I mean, that would
I
be
think
good.
that's
I mean,
as far as they'd go.
for all of Apple's more closed down tendencies with mobile stuff, they are a lot better with getting developers early versions of their OS to tinker with and get their apps ready for, because developers already have iOS 8 and and can build things for it, and Android developers basically get the new version of Android the same day that everybody else does.
Yeah, the only buddy who gets an early taste are the manufacturers.
Yeah, the OEMs who need to build updates. But yeah, I mean, this would be the time to change that if they're going to be doing all sorts of crazy
I mean,
stuff.
I just have to say that, we usually, before I/O, if they're going to announce something, it is always leaked before. I don't think there's ever been an I/O where a new version of Android has not been leaked before the announcement happened. And I don't see Google taking unprecedented security measures here.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out in just a few days.
Yes, we will.
So,
We have a delay.
we do have to say
Oh well.
that. Show's over.
Show's over. Go home.
Okay.
Everyone go home.
Okay, I'm home.
Yeah, I'm already home. I think we all are.
I'm not.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I don't live at Bob's house.
I thought you guys were roommates. Your bunk
We're
bunk
roomies.
Did you just say we were butt buddies?
buddies. No, I did not. Bunk.
Not at all what I said.
Bum buddies?
Sure, if that's what you heard, that's fine too.
So, David, does next Friday work for you?
Yes, I think. I don't have any
Alright, so we
reason to
just
think
need
it won't.
Cameron. Brian already said it works. We just need Cameron.
Yeah, what is the deal with that art thing? Because is there something out there that says the new art's coming like now versus
Well,
later?
No, they have just
in
prepared
AOSP.
for it to
The
come
folder
in the next
eating.
release.
Yeah, they ate the Dalvik.
They ate the folders.
Okay.
I mean,
so
art is like
all
the
that
default.
says is that eventually.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah,
I mean,
the next
that
release.
just means the next
next
time
major release.
they build from AOSP, it's going to be art.
Yeah, one doesn't equal the other there.
Yeah, I mean they could wait another well maybe not 6. They could wait another few months before they wrap the code again.
Oh, like Cody says though, we're 8 months out from a major release at this point, so a preview seems possible.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that they're going to talk about Android Wear, and I mean.
Well, yeah, that could be what's new in
presumably-
Android.
Yeah.
Android Wear.
Right. I just feel like there's so many things that borrow from L that,
Or Android in the car. Or
they
Android TV.
they almost have to at least acknowledge it. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna have a lot of stuff discussed without any context. I guess I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, a lot of the L stuff we've seen is it basically looks like Google Now, so they could just frame it as this is Google Now on your watch.
Maybe. All right, guys, I'm gonna head on out.
All right, peace out.
Bye,
I
David.
should depart. I should depart as well. So yes.
See you next week, y'all.
Yep. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.
Later, snitches.